One all, we've got the risk sentiment overview for the 13th or the 7th. We've got CPI data today, and we had the UK data out earlier, and it was better than anticipated. The GDP was a beat, and the RBNZ also hiked as well. So just some bit of macro there for you. And we see what's happened is that on the pound is that the retail guys have shorted the pound prior to that GDP release, and so it's doing quite well. So risk calculation we'll start off with, and this has given us the metric to say whether or not the crowd are long or short. They're currently long, however, we're getting closer to zero. If we go below zero, we're going to be risk on. And what's helping this shifting is the UK 100. They're really shorting the FTSE, which would be normal behaviour, but it's kind of skewing that average a little bit. They're not really shorting the S&P or the Dow, but they're really heavily shorting the FTSE. So just bear that in mind. So if we do go to risk on, and that number goes below zero, and we go to a negative number, it might be the UK 100 that pushes it over. So be careful. VIX is above its yearly pivot, which is a risk off indication in itself. So the big picture of risk off, VIX is selling risk off, and we've got the dollar strong down there. That could be a risk off sign as well. Yen should come down a bit more, but it's in the strong buy section. And the pound is ripping against the yen, and you can see why, because of the proximity of the bubble and the size difference. So technically it's outperforming the yen. So pound yen would be tricky there. So VIX is above its yearly pivot. So it's the 52 week midpoint. Set an alarm for 26.5. So that's the key level for VIX. Okay, so be notified if we go above or below. That'll tell us risk on or risk off at a fundamental level. EG, sell. AJ sell because we're positive now, so they're long, and they've shorted it, which adds to the bias. So red and red for AJC. But because we've got CPI data, I'm not going to be trading today. It just probably going to override sentiment. I think this is going to be a big whipsaw and on risk. And you know how AJ tracks risk. Well, it should do, traditionally speaking. It should track risk. We could be risk on or risk off. It's hard to say. Currently, the risk calculation is saying off, but we could flip on a CPI data release. UK 100 is there, so it's green, and dollar yen fairly green, very modest green there, and we've got a mismatch of dollar Swiss. See, so the US dollar has weakened against its peers on the small time frames, which would be expected. We had a massive run yesterday, and we completely obliterated people on the EURUSD and the pound USD and the Aussie and the Kiwi, and so it's taken a little bit of profit, and it's just subsiding a little bit. We're still strong on all the big time frames. However, on the H4, the yen is now strongest, so that is interesting. So big battle on dollar yen today. Average bubbles now the pound. What's happened is that they shorted it. Remember, this is the weekly baskets. We have to look at the daily basket. So this is a big overview. On the daily view, they've shorted the pound, which I'll show you. And because of that, we're going to see a movement on the bubble, or that bubble has to get smaller. But because we had the GDP data release and it was better than anticipated, it's likely it's going to be supported fundamentally. And so I think what's going to happen is the bubble is going to gravitate down. And the pound doesn't really do so well on its own in the strong buy section, but it has some help here. So I'd be careful with the pound today. And also had Governor Bailey speaking yesterday, and he said how he was wanting to return to ultra low rates as soon as the Ukraine Russia crisis subsided and the COVID fears waned. Then they're going to return. The Bank of England are going to return back to super low interest rates. Ultra low were his words in his speech. That because he said that, it's taken the big fish, taken them by surprise, because I guess maybe they don't know what's in the speech, or maybe they do, maybe he's leaked it, I don't know, but that's put a spanner in the works for the pound. So I would avoid the pound completely, and I'm not going to be trading today, but I am going to be watching things, I think, especially the Euro USD, see how that's a sell. Alright, you're looking at things on opposite ends. Aussie, Swiss, for example. Check the Aussie Swiss. It's just been naughty, but you know, we know why. It's GDP data. It's better than anticipated. There's, you know, just check things that are red that are sell and things that are green that are buy, and then you want, you know, those numbers to increase or decrease for a confirmation over time. The time is the key component. S&P, so we're sideways, nothing really to say there. Technically, we're in this down channel, so it's hard to say what's going to happen. We can quickly check it. So German 30 made a buy, but we're going sideways. We might be making a buy on gold, which I said on the technical channel. You see how these two are going to cross. So let's look at S&P, and we'll flip this to US 30 quickly. And yeah, still pretty much sideways on the S&P. So it hasn't really changed in the hour, because it takes about an hour to do this bulletin. So see sideways and fairly sideways. They'll shorten it by just a tiny amount. So yes, there's not really much help there. I'm not really sure what to say. Technically, fundamentally, not good. Sentimentally, it's just sideways. So US 30 did make a buy. However, see that big whipsaw, and that would have caught a lot of people. So yeah, horrible. Yeah, if you traded that and you're looking at the sentiment on it, you might have got a bit caught on that. But this is looking to be a buy because they're shorting it. All right. German 30 is, you know, we dipped down, making a buy. So 12801. Oh, DAX. 12801. Yes, we've fallen a little bit, and now we're sideways. So they're trying to buy the dip. See the difference? See that sideways, and we come to this, and they shorted it, but of course, you know, it's now they're no longer shorting it. It's gone sideways. So if they'd continued to short it, we would have probably been coming up, right? So they're trying to buy the dip on risk, which is a bit crazy, but it's CPI day as well, and all those fundamental macro reasons to be bearish as well. Gold, I just talked about, so I think we're going to potentially make a buy. They're going to, once we drop below 1700, that's going to flush them, and then, you know, we'll see a crossover of the moving average and the SSI line. So hopefully it's clear the logic there. Okay, and yield curve, so the 2 and the 5, that's inverted, so that's higher than this one. The 2 and the 10 is inverted, and so that's quite an omen. And also the 12-month and the 10-year. So the 1 year and the 10-year are inverted. If we continue like this, we will be recession and risk off. So this isn't lying. I think other things are, and Forex is being manipulated and the VIX is being suppressed. I think this is telling the truth, and that we're going to be risk off. But we don't know the CPI data. It might not be as bad as feared. And if it isn't as bad as feared, we'll just rally like crazy. So, and then it might fix the yield curve, you know, by some miracle. Stop loss cluster update. So the largest move was EA at 5% shift and UC at 5% shifts towards buy. The largest stop loss cluster is AU, as Aussie USD. And it's absolutely gigantic, 67.05. So we should probably be coming down to probe it, because Aussie is weak and dollar is strong. You know, to go back to, I don't mean to keep repeating myself, but the data today can change things, because Aussie is a commodity linked currency and it's linked to inflation. If the US data inflation reading is not as expected, it's going to cause that to wobble, and this is going to probably suffer as a safe haven. So it might be safe. Okay. And you want to get red and red to confirm the sell, and green to confirm the buy. Mismatch all over the shop. GJ is green. Dollar CAD, green. Dollar Swiss, green. AJ, green. AU, red. Okay, but everything else is mismatched. And yeah, so that's that. And just a reminder that the Quasidb code will lose its power after the 1st of September, and it's going to revert to a $31 a month. Currently it's at $10 a month, so get the annual plan while you can. It's up to you. Unless you want to spend $30 a month, you might as well get it at 10. but you need to probably get the annual plan to get that deal. Okay, I'm going to be doing that before the 1st of September. Failure rate. So what I did here is brought your attention to the perfect score on the pound with a 6 out of 6 score, in that the retail guys are shorted it, but we're performing technically well. So they shorted it prior to the GDP data, and they're probably got very bearish on pound, especially maybe if they looked at Bailey's speech as well. You know, that could have been quite bearish. So that they might be caught, and the traps in place on pound. So be careful. I'd probably try and avoid it if you could. Dollar's got a low score. CAD and Euro have also got low scores, but pound has got a positive. Yeah, it's got a good score, 6 out of 6. So you want things to align. Okay, so it should be quite straightforward. Patience, no signals to stay. We had gold, but we do not record it on the sheet. It's for educational purposes only. The signals are running. I didn't deactivate them. If we get in today, be really, really careful, because we've got the Bank of Canada interest rate decision, and we've got the CPI as well. It's just an overview where we stand there, technical checks. This is what the signals check against, the daily time frame. And there's the pretty full-on calendar we got today. Dollar CAD. If we get a dollar CAD signal, I might deactivate it now, actually, because it could be horrendous, but it could be negative 100 pips, and it will affect our weekly total. So I think probably risk mitigation, I'm going to deactivate dollar CAD, because it could go awry, and then they could get paid. The retail guys could get paid on dollar CAD, and that would be horrible, because we've had an excellent week. We've had our best ever Monday since putting the technical checks. Now, a bad signal can impact our total, so I am going to remove dollar CAD today, but then tomorrow I'm going to release it, reactivate it. So hopefully you don't mind about that. Hope you understand why the logic I'd want to deactivate it, because of this. It's just not good. It's too much data is going to impact that particular currency pair. And that's it. So I'll wrap up now. There's my links down there, so feel free to click them, and I'll speak to you guys soon.